this application problem of a system equation with 3 variables. If you look here, after you have a chance to read it, I went ahead and labeled X, Y, and Z. So X represented the amount invested at 8%, Y is how much is invested at 6%, and Z is how much is invested at 9%. Altogether, they invested $71,000, so if I add those together, I get $71,000. That's my first equation. If I take the interest of each times the amount invested, that gives me the interest. So that's my second equation. The total interest was $5,490. And then my third equation comes from what's underlined. So let's go over that. It says the interest from the first investment, okay, so this is the investment of the first investment, was 6 times the interest from the second. Okay, so this is the interest from the second. So that's my third equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this in an equation. The first thing I did was I just rewrote it with the x, y's, and z's simplified. The first 2 equations are written here. The third equation, I multiplied the 6 out and brought it over to the left-hand side. So there's my third equation. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to get a 0 in this spot and a 0 in this spot. So I take a multiple of this equation and add to the 2 equations. So I took this equation, first equation times negative 0.08, and add to equation 2, and this becomes my new second equation, which is right here. Okay, then I did the same thing with the third equation. I took this equation times negative 0.08, add to this equation. I did that right here. And this becomes my new third equation. Okay, so this is my new system of equations. Here's my 3 equations. Let me move down now. Okay. Okay, so right now, right here, my next thing I want to do is I want to make a 0 right there. So I took this equation times negative 22, so negative 22 times equation 5, and I add to this equation. There should be a negative there, by the way. If you take a look there, I wrote it incorrectly. If you add those up, we get negative 0.3 z is equal to negative 1,500. So that becomes my new equation 3. From there, you could go ahead and divide both sides by negative 0.3, and you'll get the value of z to be 5,000. You could substitute those 2 equations into this part to come up with y, and then finally find z. So if we go ahead and answer this, 5,400 should be invested at 8%, that's my x. 12,000 should be invested at 6%, that's my y. And 5,000 should be invested at 9%, which is my z. So that concludes this example.